Okay, you're much younger. Okay, got
Yeah.
you. Okay,
Okay,
that's
because
cool.
yeah, we asked him about it. He said he wasn't sure. He knew that you guys both went to Western, but he
Yeah.
wasn't sure about the timing. So,
Yeah.
okay, again, hello everyone. This is attorney Robyn McCoy and attorney Tracey Martin with Political Coffee with
Hey
Robyn
there.
and Tracey. And we have our special guest, Hector Santiago. And I'm still have my Scorpio mug. And I've got this time the hot cocoa has been mixed with the smoothie that my boyfriend made. But the mug also says ambitious, brave, and charming. And Tracey, do you have the same mug or do you have a new mug?
No, I switched up because we've got Hector Santiago on, and Santiago's his name, and justice is his game. And so I brought my Senate mug because you heard about Derek Chauvin wanting to appeal his case, and we're gonna talk with Hector at a later date about his platform on justice reform, law reform, criminal justice reform, probation reform. He's got a fascinating story to tell all of you, but he's hitting those doors and he's on a roll, and he's going to come back, I think,
Yes.
later this month on May 24th. We got to clear with the campaign manager. But Hector, hello to you. Hola, and happy Cinco de Mayo. And what you got a cup? You got a mug or no?
I got my flyers.
That's fine.
He's a true politician.
I admire the great work you guys do, and I know Robyn, you do. I believe you did great, or still doing great work with Western International High School.
Yes, I did some because I do programs on what to do when stopped by the police, and I did a program on knowing your right when encountering the police and immigration.
Yes. So that's great programs to have, and look forward into talking with you some more about that. These are things that I really want to talk and collaborate on, with y'all knowledge and everybody that's community leaders and
you really have us. We're on the trail with you. You're like dropping off pamphlets and like this is political coffee, y'all. Like this is live and interactive.
Well, this is the real talk. When I booked Hector Santiago for today, he did say that he was going to be on the campaign trail. He was going to be canvassing, and it was going to be tight. So we're going to give an opportunity to come back at a later date because we got a lot of questions. But Hector, before you go, I got two questions on a name thing. Now, your name is Hector Santiago, obviously, but do people ever confuse you with Hector Felipe Santiago, the Major League Baseball player?
All the time. All the time.
We just lost your video. Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Okay,
I probably hit it with my flyers. I put the mask down so you guys can see my face.
Okay.
Yeah, so the funny thing about that is he played for the Mets and the Tigers, and the baseball team I coach and the youth and adults were the Mets. So so sometimes they're like, hey, Hector. So when he signed with the Tigers, I had about 50 friends call me and say congratulations, and I appreciate it. Wow. But I'll get, if you don't mind, I could give you a real quick a little bit of my background, a little quick story about myself.
Sure. Yeah, we're here. Yeah.
You got time.
So Hector Santiago, born and raised in Southwest Detroit, raised in the church, pastor's son, watching my parents be those public servants to those church members, seeing how they handle those issues and how they're able to listen, make sure those resources are there, right? Growing up, I didn't understand what that meant. So I always said, Mommy, Papi, how can we I almost talk Spanish there to you. Mommy puppy.
Hablo poco en español, muchos en Francis. Okay,
yeah.
I took a semester of Spanish, but I'm a little.
Okay.
I'm gonna need more classes, more cultural.
Yeah, so it's like, mommy puppy, come on, or how can we, give when we don't have, right? And some they always install me what's that faith and that compassion. When you give, you shall receive. When you give with your heart, you shall receive, right? And growing up, I wasn't perfect. Graduated from Western International High School first.
Awesome.
As we know, most diverse school in Pilot City, and just like the district I'm running for is the most diverse district. So a lot of people doesn't understand. If you go to Western, it has 12 flags. So when I was in ROTC, I never understood what the flags stand for, right? Or the pose, until we started bringing out the flags of every single culture. So that showed the different diversity we had in our school. And was the first out of 4 to attend college.
Okay.
Wasn't perfect. Had my first daughter there. Had a nonviolent offense and a nonviolent felony. And during that time, I began coaching the adult league and youth team. And also, I joined the Greenie of Detroit, the program.
So is that how you met Tammy Aragon? Because she sent me a text and she said she and Peyton are working with your campaign.
Great people, great campaign gurus, I call them. And
they are.
And when God has good people on your side and you're walking in his faith, they'll come, right? And I continue doing the path. Now, I went through that program, and those that are not familiar with the program, it's a program that deals with a lot of people with returning citizens, barriers to employment. You look for those resources that you may need. You may be homeless, mental illness, a lot of things may be going on in your life, right? So they gave me that shot. Now, a decade later, I'm running that same program I went through and helping those that may be in need like I was. So now I find those resources, those I schedule a lot of partners to come in, those jobs to help them wipe those barriers to employment, because what's another one? Front court for those licenses. We had Detroit ID come in a few times from the court to wipe out what was that? Their child support. So they can go to work or not go back to prison, or there's a lot of things that go on when you owe child support. They suspend your license as well. And during that process, in those 10 years, Project Clean Slate came out 2 years ago, 2019. And I believe that's when my case was. And that's when my life completely changed, other than when I, got married and had my kids and my daughter. And got my expungement, and then I was able to attend the bill signing where the lieutenant governor, and mayor was, and right there sitting down, I teach Sunday school, I coach baseball, I volunteer in the community, I do a lot of community events, I go around with the business owners. I do a lot of things, and
You're
said,
really
you know what?
on the ground in the community,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Doing a lot of great things. And
yes.
I saw that photograph of you, Hector,
Yeah.
with Governor Whitmer and the LG, Garland Gilchrist and Mayor Duggan. That was you. You were right
Yes.
there with the big three. That's
Yes.
fast. That's fantastic.
That
Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
You know,
Thank
for
you.
being a graduate of the Clean Slate program, because you're, you know, a personal testament to success. And we gotta have you back on so we can
yes.
the full
so we can
gamut
get,
of the story.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. And
absolutely.
you know, it's you know, trying to be that public servant that, you know, I grew up being, and understanding the issues we go through every day. I mean, I know what it is to have $5 at the gas pump and use the other $5 for a loaf of bread, cheese, and bologna. So, I mean, I know the struggles and difficulties our constituents go through, you know, in a daily basis. So I'm no better than anybody else. Yes, I'm running, but I always say we're running. So, you know, I really want to come back to give you guys a little bit more, but you know, I'm going up and down these stairs, and I'm huffing.
Yeah, we're gonna let you use those doors.
Yeah, we'll be safe. Yeah, we'll let you go, and definitely, it's a pleasure to meet you, and especially with all that you have a very powerful testimony.
Yes.
And we do programming with expungement. We are working with folks to help them to find out about the new law and help them get their records cleared, and then I do programs on what to do when stopped by the police, like I said, and then and
then hopefully we could talk more too about mental illness, and you know, these are things that I'm looking into. You know, there's a lot of things that I would love to talk to you guys about that is on my platform, and I'm very excited. And thank you for having me on. You know, and also, you know, a big shout out to everybody that's been around my corner supporting as well, because I mean, I didn't get here alone. You know, God help. But,
Hector, before you go, tell people how they can hit up your campaign.
Yeah,
you know, your website.
Okay. Yes. So you can so you can go. Well, you can't see it there. So
no, we could.
We could see it.
Oh, you could? Okay. Or actually, here. Sorry. It's so different not being in front of my computer, but you know, I had to say hi to you guys, you know.
Really appreciate you stopping out.
Hector
Santiago for Detroit.com.
Yep, that's the website. Then email.
Okay.
Santiago2021@gmail.com. Campaign office. And then, of course, August 3rd. But we would love to have you guys to volunteer and to help the movement, because at the end of the day, it takes all of us to get the changes that we really need here in the district. Like I say, nobody will be ever forgotten again, you know, and that's a big thing that I'm gonna focus on, bringing that unity. And can't wait to give you guys the whole spiel and talk Spanish with y'all. I'm very excited, you know. Yeah, you know, I want to hear some more Spanish, okay?
Right. We're gonna practice. We're gonna learn it. We're gonna, you know, hola, ¿cómo estás? You know,
seguro.
I speak a lot of French.
Seguro.
Hector, on your website, you have it's in Arabic too. Arabic.
Yes, because you know, we have here in District 6, you know, I'm not gonna say Southwest, you know, we're District 6. We're just not one side, one little small pocket. We are 8 zip codes, okay? So you have different diversity. So you have your Arabic, you have your Hispanic or Latino, and then you have your African American, and you also have your Americans as well, right? So it's a very diverse district. You have Dominicans, you have Cubans, you have Guatemaltecos, you have everything around here. So I mean, if you want pupusa, you want everything, you come to Southwest Detroit. You want Puerto Rican, you go to Rincon Tropical.
But you're Puerto Rican?
I'm Puerto Rican, yes.
Oh, Puerto Rican.
Puerto Riqueño. But what I say is I'm Latino because we're all united. We are all one culture, and there's no me is all we. And I support all local businesses, and you know, like for example, you know, I love eating over here at Nacimientos, man. It's delicious.
Yeah, right.
And he has a beautiful, you know, I was talking to him, and just I'll be quick. He has a beautiful mural, okay? And there's a picture on my Facebook where you see me like hitting elbows with him and smiling.
Right.
And he explained that mural to me, and it touched me, you know, and I texted him like, hey, thank you so much for sharing that history, that family history, because that was actually him and his dad, you know, in that mural. So a lot of these murals symbolize something. So it's all about talking to business owners, and it's just amazing, you know. And you know, I mean, you got different kind of foods around here: Cuban, Puerto Rican, Dominican.
You're making me hungry. You need to give us a list so we can come over there and get some food, okay?
Anytime, you guys can email me anytime, you know, because I mean, it's very diverse over here, you know. And then, you know, if you want to see a good baseball game from high school, it's Western International High School, you know. Great coaches there. That's who trained me. Juan Carlos, Mike, I mean, Nigel, he's a police officer, and Matos. And then you got Angel Garcia, he passed away, Lord God rest his soul. That I was a freshman when he was Angel Garcia.
Wait, when did he pass away? Because he was there when I came in. I was working with the students there.
That's his son. That's his son.
Oh,
Angel Garcia.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
That's his son, and I played baseball with him. So, so his father actually, I was his last team. That was my freshman year, and I had the honor to play under him. And then Coach Juan and Mike came in and installed that leadership in us, you know, those young men. So just being able to be around programs like that, it's a blessing. So, I mean, I got so much stories and great things, and so much stuff to talk about, especially door knocking and all the issues that are going on. You know, I would love to share with you guys. So when I talk with the campaign manager, hopefully we could get on. But yeah, for sure, you know, walking around, for sure, you know, there's a lot of forgotten areas that we need to wake up and really focus on, because you know, there's a lot of blight, and I mean, they feel forgotten and they're losing hope, you know. And just being able to connect with them again and give them that hope that, hey, you know, you have a voice. Just trust me. I'm a different candidate. You know, I'm not going to sell you the sunshines and sell you a rainbow and paint the gold road. I just want to be honest. You know, that's all they ask for. You know, you got to, I mean, you just got to tell them what you can do, you know, and be honest, what you can do at that position. And they really respect that, you know. So, you know, that's all I can really do. Okay, here. Hey, yes. Oh, sorry. They want to talk to me. So I'll let you guys go. I appreciate you guys. Muchas gracias. Un honor. Y talk to you guys soon. Okay.
All right. Hasta luego.
God bless you guys.
Later in May. Good luck out there.
Yeah, see you later. Be safe.
Talk to you soon. Hasta luego. See you
Hasta
later.
Luego. Adios.
Bye.
All right. Adios.
Hola. Okay. Bye. Hey, my name is Hector Santiago, and
well, that was you had it right here. I felt like I was on the campaign trail with him. That was like in action.
That was interesting. You could see he was out there. We just had a chat with District 6 candidate for Detroit City Council, Hector Santiago. Not the Major League Baseball player, but he said a moment ago he's been mistaken for Hector Felipe Santiago, who did play for the Detroit Tigers, the Mets, the Twins, the Angels, the whole nine. He's a free agent now. But yeah, Hector Santiago, we can't wait to have him back so that we can really do a deep dive into what his take is on all the issues. And do you remember him from Western International High School, Robyn?
There were a lot of kids there. I don't know, because there were a lot. I mean, I was working with a specific student that had issues, and so we were having meetings. But we did that program a couple of years ago. So
okay.
with the students, and that's what I miss. I miss being able to go and do programs in person. I mean, we can do virtual, but that's, it's different. It's not the same as being there and engaging. I'm a people person, just like teaching. I like to teach in person, and it's been an adjustment to be teaching virtually. It's just a different scene.
Yeah, looking at glass screens, I mean, it can wear on you. There is such a thing as Zoom fatigue, they say. And, we had another candidate on earlier, David Sanchez, also running for District 6. And he said that he completed his degree virtually right alongside his children who were doing remote learning. So I don't know. I think there are aspects of video conferencing that are going to stay with us even after the pandemic ends. And gosh, I hope it does end someday soon, because of the convenience, like at court.
Right.
Oakland County has always had Judge Online, where a lawyer could, use their computer or camera to participate in a hearing. That's typically for lawyers who are far away, or, as long as you pay, you don't really have to have any particular reason, but you could do it. And so I just say all that to say that I think some aspects of this are going to stay.
I would much rather, instead of having to physically go to 3 different courts in 3 different jurisdictions, I would much rather have 3 devices that have Zoom up. That is actually better, safer. So I agree. I think that some of these technological changes are going to stick with us, because for pleas, you don't have to be there. I mean, for a jury trial, I think you need to be there. Bench trial, you need to be there. So there are some nuances that which I think should stay with us. And, I'm hoping that we can get more progressive offers from the prosecutors, so that, because I believe most of the cases that come through the criminal justice system are can be pleas, but it's just like there has to be some reasonableness on the prosecution side. And then there are some that are clearly going to go to jury trial or bench trial, and okay, then let's just deal with the ones that have plea potential and get those out of the way.
Yes, because those go quick. I mean, I have done the trifecta where I have appeared in Wayne County, Oakland County, and Macomb County in one day. And, you're traveling, and it can be dangerous because, not that anybody's speeding, but, it's just hectic.
It's a lot. It's a lot on your body physically to go. That's why they talk about litigators have high rates of heart attacks, because when you're running, if you're running from here, literally running, I mean, you're not speeding, but you're stressed out because you're trying to get, especially if you're scheduled to be in 3 places at one time at the same time.
Right, exactly. So, we were talking with Hector Santiago earlier. He's going to come back. We had suggested a date of Wednesday, May 26th, because now Political Coffee is airing weekdays. We stream weekdays. Although this Saturday, we are going to do a special episode of Political Coffee where we're returning to Saturday, this Saturday, May the 8th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Ed Sarpolis, the founder and director of Target Insight, is going to bring his polling data about reparations in Detroit, local reparations, and he's also going to be talking about redistricting. So that's this Saturday at 2 p.m. It's a special, but
those are definitely 2 hot topics.
Yeah, redistricting and reparations. I'm reading an interesting book about federal reparations, connected with HR 40. It's called From Here to Equality. So I'm really looking forward to that discussion with Ed Sarpolis. He's a good friend of mine. I regard him as a polling guru. I've had him on a number of shows when I had my old radio show, and he's fascinating to speak with. I could talk with Ed or talk to Ed Sarpolis for hours about his findings, and he's got some, big news about redistricting and some other things that are cooking. You just get these little inside the kernels of juicy, political tea, and so he's going to be on
I'm looking
Saturday.
forward to that. And yeah, I've done some videos on my Robyn Legal YouTube and the Robyn Legal website on HR 40, and we did in my class, we covered Ta-Nehisi Coates' essay on the case for reparations. So we have had discussions about reparations. I've actually had an essay. I had the kids do it every time. I've taught 3 times on my class, and we've had the kids write about reparations. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to the interview on Saturday. And I know you and I also wanted to talk about some of the headlines that have been in the news, the local news.
But what's your top headline from local news and then national news for this week so far? We're in the middle of the week, so what are your top?
Middle of the week, gosh. I mean, well, you alerted me to the one that was happening in the 36th district with the judge and the whole issue about he guess, as my understanding, he was chastising somebody about what they were wearing, and he was recorded, and there was somebody was in the audience. I don't know that they were a lawyer, maybe another member of the public that advocated for the person who was at work and had to wear their work clothes. And you and I have talked about this before, about this. I have had the issue with wearing a head wrap, and I've had some judges at the 36th district ask me to remove my head wrap, even though I've worn them culturally. They're gailies. I'm Afrocentric, and I've worn them since I was a little girl, and I've worn them all over the state and in the courts. And I've been in front of all kinds of judges of different colors and ethnicities, but I've had 3 times at the 36th district where I was asked to remove my headscarf from Black females. The first time I was able to keep it on because I explained that I wear it for spiritual, cultural reasons. I mean, I'm not Muslim. I don't wear them every day, but I would wear them often. And I was actually kicked out of the second time I was kicked out of the courtroom, just basically booted out, and I was wearing a headscarf, and it's not a bandana. It's I mean, I'll wear it. I know we've talked about some future shows bringing on Representative Sarah Anthony, who's working to pass the legislation, the Crown Act, that deals with hair discrimination for Black women. And
that's part of hair discrimination, don't you think? If a judge won't allow you to wear a culturally centric head wrap?
I believe it is, and I believe that the Crown Act they should include the head wrap with that. I know when I talked to some of the national folk about it at the National Bar, like they had a virtual event, they were saying that they were not including head wraps. But for me, again, growing up Afrocentric, I've worn Afrocentric attire. I went to Catholic school. I wore it to Catholic school. I would wear head wraps. I would wear braids. I've never had any time where anybody said I had to take off what I was wearing and it was inappropriate. And to actually have it coincidentally, to have it happen to myself, it was an intense experience. And so I'm working with advocacy groups, Black women lawyers in Michigan, to take these issues on. We need to change the judicial code of conduct, because the judicial code of conduct, we started talking about the issue with Judge Giles, with him telling a person that if they're not dressed appropriately, that he'll lock them up, or he'll make sure that if they don't dress appropriately, he's going to lock them up and they'll be wearing jail fatigues. And so my issue with the head wrap compelled me to read the Judicial Code of Conduct, which says that the judges cannot discriminate based on race, gender. They can't, but it also says that they can dictate the attire of the litigants, so the lawyers, the members of the public, and their staff. And so, but this issue, like I know when talking to some of the folks about the hair discrimination, they're saying that there's, under Elliott Larson, that there's protections in place to prohibit race discrimination, and that our hair, the way we wear our hair, if we want it, whatever way we want to wear it, straight, braids, natural, afro, that's part of our race and ethnicity, and that's discrimination. And the argument has also been made that the head wrap too, wearing a head wrap, it's not a bandana, it's not a rag, it's an actual African gaily. And I have Afrocentric attire, and
They're beautiful. It's very beautiful. For example, remember when we hosted and co-moderated a special in March 27th on the new clean slate law rolling out in Michigan, which it has rolled out. It's effective now, effective April 11th. And we featured an illustrious panel of distinguished guest lawmakers and lawyers. And one of the members of the panel was attorney Victoria Burton Harris, who ran for Wayne County prosecutor and is now I believe the deputy Washtenaw County prosecutor, assistant prosecutor. She's like, one of the top prosecutors. And she wore this beautiful turban. And so what's wrong with that? It looks professional. Okay, let me preface my remarks that I'm going to say now. So I've been on this genealogical study and, I've discovered aspects of my heritage, which, I had an inkling of, but it was confirmed. And one of the aspects of my ancestry is that it did confirm that I am MENA, M-E-N-A, Middle Eastern North African, from Algeria and Morocco. And so recently I have been wearing a hijab when I go out. And so this makes me think, with the head wrap, would a judge ever tell a woman to remove a hijab? I don't think so. But I have read stories of judges telling women to remove a burqa,
burqa. Yes, I hate
covers. Yeah, but that is cultural, it's religious. If you're Muslim, I just think that there needs to be respect, because you have people going into court wearing yarmulkes and no one says anything to them about it. What's the difference? Why can't you wear a head wrap, a cultural head wrap? It looks neat, it looks professional. Like you said, it's not some head rag. I have been in court with clients who have come to court wearing bonnets, like you wear at home. And when I say a bonnet, I mean like a silk bonnet that women wear to keep their hair together at night. And that's probably, maybe going a little too far, but a cultural head wrap, I don't see what the issue is with that. And regarding the incident at 36th District Court the other day, well, my husband alerted me to it. He said, oh, there was an incident on Zoom with the judge telling a construction worker that he can't wear a t-shirt, even though he's on the job and he's trying to hold down his job. And it was clear from the video from Zoom court that the gentleman was at his job. And so I have two things about this. The person who called out Judge Giles, no one knew who she was. And the litigant who was berated by the judge didn't know who she was. And in fairness to Judge Giles, he did not hold that against the litigant who was wearing a collarless shirt, a t-shirt. Nobody knew who this woman was who called out Judge Giles and said, that's effed up. And well, I don't know if she was calling him the B word, but she used the word B, okay? And how does somebody like that get admitted to a Zoom court, okay? How does she get admitted to a Zoom hearing? You know what I'm saying? When you go into the waiting room, the clerk checks you out to find out who you are and if you have any business being on that Zoom court hearing, right? So how did she even get access?
There have been concerns. The criminal defense bar has expressed concerns about this issue with some of the judges berating people for the way that they dress. And, I've taken it up with Judge McConaughey because based on my own experience and what I've seen exhibited with some of my clients, because I feel it's unfair if it's a lot of our clients, it's the first time they've ever come to court. They're not receiving a notice saying to them, okay, you're coming to court, you need to dress a certain way. Sometimes they don't know about that until they actually get into court. And for judges to say, well, if you don't dress a certain way, I'm going to show you how to dress. I feel that's very harsh. I mean, I know Judge Giles was a private attorney and an excellent private attorney. And he's considered actually one of the more progressive judges, that he's a fair judge, because there's issues. Some people are concerned about some of the judges coming in there they won't berate the clients about what they wear, but they're not fair on the cases. Like Judge Giles will dismiss some of the cases that.
Well, that's great. That's great that he's a progressive judge. Like
he'll dismiss some of the cases that are
but
weak
that
cases.
doesn't give him the right to berate people who are working class, who are middle class. Now, I myself have gone around with the Judge Giles. I was representing a Latina litigant, and she came to court in her best. I told her to wear her best, and she didn't have much money. And she wore a collarless shirt. It was a black t-shirt. And Judge Giles attempted to berate her. And I, said, hold up, wait a minute. Now, my client doesn't have a lot of money. She doesn't have money to be looking like she stepped off a Vogue, cover. So, that ended that discussion, okay? And I just think that is completely unfair, especially in this climate where we're in a pandemic. And so to threaten a litigant with a lockup, in a potentially COVID environment, it just is not a good look. And I heard what Chief Judge McConaughey said on Fox 2 News last night, that it, didn't make the court look very good. And he was calling for a meeting. I think it is bad optics. And the other side of that is it's Zoom court. I mean, there've been lawyers that I've heard, showed up to Zoom court topless, not women, men, wearing a bare chest, or, lawyers, inappropriately dressed. But for this guy who was on the job, trying to hold down his construction job, it was clear he was on the job, to threaten him with jail, that's out of order.
Well, like I said, I have seen these issues. I know before the pandemic, with the criminal defense bar, we had an attorney's lounge at Frank Murphy where we could take donated clothes to give to our clients to dress appropriately because they're coming, they're showing up, they don't know I think the issue is we're putting upper and middle class standards on people. Like if people had the money to buy the proper clothes, it's like you got to think about, they wouldn't even be in trouble. Some of them are in trouble because of poverty. Like they don't have money. They do commit crimes because of poverty. If they had the wherewithal to dress appropriately, they wouldn't be getting in trouble.
It goes beyond that, because what is appropriate? As long as you're coming to court and you're clean and neat, and you're not wearing a t-shirt that has profanity on it, or see-through top, or mini skirt up to your butt, or booty shorts, then that's proper to me, because we're living in a different age where people don't have funeral clothes or church clothes. When you go to funerals today, a lot of people are showing up in t-shirts and casual. The thing is that you're there, okay? That you make it to court, whether it's on Zoom or in person, you're clean, you're neat. You know what? I remember when I was in court in front of, I think it was Judge Colombo or Judge Callahan. No, I think it was Callahan. And this lawyer made a big deal about how his client showed up to court, in a three-piece suit, and the other litigant, looked like he was cleaning out his garage. And, the judge said, well, it makes no difference to me. This is in circuit court. He showed up to court, he's clean, he's neat, he's not offensive, and looks like your client's got on his funeral suit. Next. I mean, that was the right attitude.
I think the issue is it's about uniformity, but what the judges take the lead from is the Judicial Code of Conduct, which says that they get this is what's been communicated to me when I have what's not just communicated, it's because I read the Judicial Code of Conduct, but what's also been communicated to me is that the judges get to dictate in their courtroom, they are the law of the land. So they get to dictate the rules for their respective courtrooms. And I think that's the issue too, is that there's not uniformity in how the courtrooms are engaged. So you go into one courtroom and, like I discovered, I could wear a head wrap in one courtroom, go into another one. But I mean, to me, to have three black, well, the first judge, I'm not going to go on her because she let me keep my head wrap on. But the other two judges, to tell me I can't wear head wraps that I've worn since I was a little girl. And that, to me, I was, because you expect racism, from prejudice from white folk. You know, my parents were like, look, you gonna have to deal with some prejudice and pick your battles. Sometimes, you know, you can't fight every battle, but if something really bothers you, you need to deal with it. I had a situation in high school where I wore a shirt saying the hardest job in America is being a Black woman, and I was chastised by some of my classmates, and I wrote a letter to the school, and then I did a program. I brought in a expert about, he was African-American, talking about cultural issues and sensitivity. That's what I did there. And so I think that's what I think needs to happen at the 36th District Court, is they need to have a meeting with the criminal defense bar, Black women lawyers in Michigan, and talk about cultural sensitivity. And I mean, the thing that is just so shocking to me is that these are Black judges, and they're demonstrating a lack of cultural sensitivity to Black litigants. And it's like, it's the 36th district. You would think it would be a more progressive court because it's Black judges, that they would be more enlightened. You know, my background is cultural anthropology. I've traveled.
I'm not shocked by it though, Robyn, because remember when we both co-interviewed Yale law professor Eric Foreman, who is the author of a book called Locking Up Our Own. And the premise of that book basically is that, you know, you have these Black prosecutors and judges, and they're just as hard, if not harder, on Black defendants than anyone else. So I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked. Many of these judges, not all of them, but some of them have acute Black robe syndrome or Black robitis.
Correct.
And they're out of touch. David LeGrand, State Representative David LeGrand, we talked to him about this just a few weeks ago, and he says, you know, these judges, many of them, they're out of touch. They have six figures, they have middle-class income or upper middle-class income, and they just cannot relate to what it takes for litigants to get to court on time. Some of them have to catch buses. They don't have money for Uber or Lyft, and they just are completely out of touch. And, you know, I urge people to go back and watch that interview because David LeGrand was talking about his quest for eliminating cash bail in Michigan. And yeah, but not all judges are like this, but it's the ones that do these things that really stick out and really, you know, sort of keep this mindset going that, oh, you know, court's a scary place, and, you know, they don't want to have to deal with some surly judge, and it's bad. It's bad for law, you know, the state of what we do, the whole court system. Judges are supposed to exude judicial demeanor, and they're supposed to teach everyone who treat everyone who comes before them with respect, a decorum, and be on time to the bench as well, respect people's schedules. And again, this threat of locking somebody up because they're on the job and wearing a collarless shirt, that is out of order. I think that is completely wrong. But, you know, at 36th District Court, there's a couple of new judges hitting the bench thanks to Governor Gretchen Whitmer making appointments. She announced it today. Someone I know, Sean Perkins, who is hotshot attorney Todd Perkins' brother, was just appointed to the bench at 36th District Court, and also court magistrate Millicent Sherman, who has run for judge before. She also received an appointment from Governor Whitmer, and so she will now go from magistrate to full-fledged judge at 36th District Court. What do you think of those appointments, Robyn?
Well, I want to congratulate both Sean and Millicent. And Black Women Lawyers in Michigan wrote a letter for Sean Perkins. I know my Aunt Virgie wrote a letter as well. You know, and actually, since we're talking about this issue about judicial decorum and Black robitis, that's something that we actually referenced in the letter, that
really?
There are judges that have Black robe syndrome, and that we believe that Sean would be different, that he would, I'd specifically, like, so Black Women Lawyers, where we have it set up where if you're a member, if you're active with our group, we will evaluate you, and we can conceivably write a letter for you if you're trying to get a judicial appointment on the state level, the federal level. We've written some letters for people that are in consideration for the U.S. attorney's positions, but specifically on this issue about judges, I I was a long distance runner, so I'll be beating my drum until I see resolution. Just like with reparations, I'm gonna keep talking about, when we're talking about reparations, we're gonna be talking about the George Floyd police and that. We're gonna keep talking about it until we see justice actually happen. So with it, and the head wrap issue too. I mean, because I don't fight every little thing. I don't fight every little thing, but when something resonates within me and I feel really upset, and it's not just about me. With the head wrap issue, I was told that the judge that booted me out the courtroom also booted Linda Get out of the courtroom, who was wearing a head covering and who was a cancer survivor. And that's when I said, that's when the message, I was like, no, you can't let this go. I've emailed people about it. We've got committees, legislative groups talking about what we've got to do to change the code of conduct, because what I will say as a defense attorney, I mean, you and I both as attorneys, we want to see judges that are going to be fair and impartial. We want to have righteous judges. We want to have at 36th district or wherever it is, you want to have judges that if the prosecution has not met the elements of the offense, that they're willing to dismiss the case. Now that's why there are people that are torn over the situation with Judge Giles, because he is a progressive judge. And he's not afraid to dismiss the weak cases. But there is this issue. People have been upset about the way he has demeanor, being grouchy and all that kind of stuff, and concerns about Black robe syndrome. And then it's people are torn because he has hosted some of our Black women lawyers events at when he was a private attorney, he was a really nice guy, a nice attorney. And so
no one is saying that Judge Giles does not have great qualities. He wouldn't be on the bench if he wasn't an awesome, phenomenal person, okay, to become a judge. That is an achievement. It is an honor. It is a position that lends itself to prestige. But there are some judges who commit Black robe-itis, okay? They have it. They have Black robe syndrome. I don't know what happens to them once they ascend to the bench. They tend to lose touch. They lose touch with what it's like to be an attorney, a working attorney who's running from courtroom to courtroom, courthouse to courthouse, and is trying to make a living. And they lose touch with the litigants that appear before them, some of them who may not have the means to even be able to afford an attorney. Okay, but they still have a right to access to justice and to be treated with respect and have the same outcome, whether they are represented by counsel or not, because I have seen some judges, not all, give pro se litigants or litigants who appear improper without counsel short shrift. And it makes a difference. I think people know that they will have perhaps a better outcome if they go into court with an attorney. It's not always that way. Look, I've seen people represent themselves and they beat the lawyer, but it's an issue. It's a serious issue. It needs to be addressed, and I hope that it will be. It seems as if Chief Judge McConaughey over there at 36th District Court takes it seriously. I saw his interview last night on Fox 2. He's taking up the matter very seriously, and we'll see what the outcome is. But I hope I don't ever hear about a judge berating someone because they appear on Zoom Court of all places in a T-shirt that they need to wear for their job. That is inappropriate. That's not.
And what do they say? What's done in the dark will come to light, because there have been concerns. Defense attorneys have been concerned about some of the behaviors of the judges, and so that I think that's why some of this stuff comes to light, so we can hopefully change, just like we talk about with police misconduct and changing the culture of the police. There are some places with the judges that some of the culture needs to be changed, and for the better. I think people have asked me about, why don't you run for judge or get appointed as a judge? And, I've talked about, I became a lawyer to help the brothers in the system, the sisters, folks in the system. And I'm not saying I would never want to apply for a judgeship, but because of some of the behaviors I see from some of these people that get appointed as judges, or they run for judge, and some of them let it go to their head. Some of them they're good people, but then when something about putting a robe on, it's kind of discouraged me from wanting to, because I'm like, I'm a spiritual Christian woman. I want to help people. I understand their rules. I'm not saying the judges need to follow, they need to tell people to follow the rules, just like I had my mama, Nurse Pam. You know, shout out to Nurse Pam. If I didn't follow the rules, she was gonna whoop me. She was gonna do, you know, she was gonna handle it. And she scared me more than anything. She didn't always whoop me. I mean, I appreciate that there are rules and there's the law. My mom was the law. If I didn't have the law, she taught me how to respect her and my father, respect for your parents, respect the teachers, respect the police, respect everybody, the judges, lawyers, respect yourself.
Right, but sometimes the law needs to be reformed if it's unjust. I mean, that's why we have had the clean slate law roll out here in Michigan to give people opportunities for expungements if they have, you know, what is it? It's up to 3 felonies and unlimited misdemeanors, pretty much.
3 felonies.
Except no drunk driving, or, you know, you know, because people can't get jobs and they can't get housing if they have a record. So that's great. This is the age of law reform. And at the end of the day, I do believe that judges and jurists must remember that ultimately the taxpayers pay their salaries, and that they are public servants, that they are civil servants, and they are to serve on the bench with respect and judicial demeanor and decorum. That's what they have to remember. I really think that all lawyers and judges should take their oath of office every year to remind us of what our duties are and what our roles are as lawyers and judges in this state and across the country.
Right. No, I agree with you. I think because there's not even, you look, only 5% of lawyers are Black. It's not even, I mean, I know in Detroit, we see a lot of Black lawyers and judges, so it makes you just think that there's so many, but no, on the whole scale of things, there are not that many. And we definitely need to increase the number of Black attorneys, women judges, Black judges, but they need to be good examples. They need to be like, you know, like my mentor, Judge Deborah Thomas, you know, Judge Margie Braxis, who's retired, Judge Cynthia Latoya Miller. We have some really good models of judges out there. And I think that the other judges need to look to them and like, think about it. Like, don't just become a judge because you want a salary and a higher salary and you're in a position of power. You need to really take that oath serious. You know, look at the facts of the situation, and that the facts don't meet the elements, dismiss the case. Now, if they meet the elements of the case, then okay. Then the person needs to be bound over and, you know, handle it. Follow the rules.
On the criminal side. But that, I would say that is so far this week, that's my local story of the midweek. The issue at 36th District Court. You know, I find it rather ironic that somebody who probably wasn't even supposed to be in that Zoom court hearing called out the judge, which made this video go viral, because, you know, you're not supposed to be recording those Zoom proceedings.
I know.
Somebody recorded that, and somebody let that individual in who called out the judge, and, you know.
Well, you're making me think from what you're saying, Attorney Martin, you're making me think maybe somebody did it intentionally. Maybe they heard about the issue and got in there and intentionally recorded it. I don't, or maybe it was a fluke. I don't know.
I don't know, but that's an interesting point that you raised. And then in terms of my national story of the midweek, I mean, there's so much going on out here in the political world. I do have a tie for a local story, but I would say quickly, my national story of the week is that Facebook upheld its decision. Donald Trump cannot get back on Facebook or Instagram because, you know, Facebook owns Instagram now. They merged. And so that's going to be interesting going into 2022, because I think that a lot of Republicans, conservative Republicans who are for free speech, First Amendment, they're taking issue with that. And that's going to get the gander up headed into 2022 and 2024, because people see that as an infringement on free speech, even though it's Facebook. And, you know, the argument is, oh, it's privately owned, but newspapers are privately owned too. And, you know, people get to exercise free speech, you know, if they write a column or, you know, comment. So that's my national story of the week. And then the tie for the local story of the midweek is former council member Gabe Leland of District 7. He pled guilty on Monday of felony misconduct in office. He was represented by attorney C. Fishman, a hotshot, preeminent criminal defense attorney who worked out this great deal for him. Although he hasn't been sentenced yet, Gabe Leland will be sentenced on June 7th. The plea agreement is set forth where Gabe Leland will serve no jail time. And, you know, the allegation was that he accepted half of a $15,000 bribe to fix a certain something. And so he accepted $7,500. It got converted into a campaign contribution. But my point is this, you know, we had another council member, actually Detroit City Council President Monica Conyers, who went to federal prison, Alderson prison camp for 37 months because she was alleged to have accepted a $6,000 bribe in connection with the Synagro scandal. And, you know, so there's a lot of discussion, debate about a legal double standard. Black politicians get treated one way and white politicians get treated another way. Some people might say, oh, it depends on the lawyer. But still, I mean,
I think it shows. It's also it be who the lawyer is a factor, but we're in a racial caste system here in America, and that's reflective. It's unfair. You have a double standard, like with Kwame Kilpatrick getting 28 years, and then some of the folks connected to the Trump, they didn't get as much time, and they did just as much or worse than what Kwame did, and then. When you talk about a national story, I would say my midweek story is about the whole drama with Liz Cheney and them trying to remove her from her seat. Even though she's telling the truth, she's being righteous in her position, and they're trying to take her out. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see her running for president. I think it's going their efforts to remove her are probably going to backfire against them. You know, it's going to be interesting.
It's going to be interesting, but Republicans have the right to decide who their leadership is going to be. And I believe that they're going to take her out. And I don't see a future for Liz Cheney running for POTUS ever. So we'll see what happens with that. But that has been all in the headlines, this whole thing with Kevin McCarthy and Liz Cheney. Oh, and there was a leak of Kevin McCarthy's comments about Liz Cheney, where I think he said something about, I can't take it anymore.
I can't take her anymore. Right. And see, you know, again, how much of that is really McCarthy, or is it Trump or the Trumpers influencing what's happening in the party?
Well, I mean, Trump, from where I sit, is still leader when it comes to the Republican Party. And a source of mine who is a Republican says, you know, there is this rift in the Republican Party, and because you have establishment Republicans and then you have these like Trumpers, and it's kind of ripping the party apart. But, you know, by the same token, though, on the other side of the equation, Democrats are going to have an issue with far lefters and ultra progressives who are not satisfied with what they call establishment Democrats. I mean, you have members of the Squad. I mean, some people would say the Squad is not even far left, that they're more, you know, going moderate. We would like to have Rashida Tlaib, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, on from the 13th Congressional District to talk about some issues, not just with the Squad, but what's going on with redistricting and other issues. But it's going to be a problem in both parties, frankly. There are a lot of people who are upset with how both parties are being run. And there are frankly a lot of calls out there to form new parties. And there's someone out there trying to form the Patriot Party on the Republican side. And we'll see where it ends up.
Folks, stay tuned to Political Coffee because we'll be talking about more of these issues. Yeah, I know in the news they were talking about they call it the Civil War in the Republican Party happening. So
yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. This has been Political Coffee. with Robyn and Tracey. And you see I have my Scorpio mug. Tracey and I are both Scorpios, share the same birthday. And so
yeah, where did you get that Scorpio mug?
I was Bed Bath & Beyond. I saw it and I said, hey,
really?
My friend, my friends from college, my friend Marcia is a Scorpio as well. We always talk about Scorpio power. We have like a little chant, Scorpio power and all that. Right. So yeah, so Scorpio.
Cool.
Yep. All right. Well, Tracey, you have a blessed evening, and
you too, Robyn.
Everybody stay tuned for our exciting special show on Saturday at 2 with Ed Saprolis.
Okay, we're out. Bye, everybody. See you Saturday.
See you Saturday.
Let's groove in America. Bye. Bye, Robyn.
Bye, Tracey. See you later.